Hello, this is Angie Burns, the owner and publisher of Allen City Lifestyle, and welcome to the Allen City Lifestyle Podcast. On our podcast, we celebrate the positive, supportive, and inclusive contributions of local businesses, organizations, and individuals making an impact on our community. We like to celebrate all of the amazing things that are going on in Allen, Fairview, Lucas, and Parker, and share them with our listeners so that you know the best-in-class businesses, the organizations making a difference in our community, and the individuals who are making an impact on our residents here in our area. We are here with Daniel Borden of the Daniel Borden Agency with State Farm. So you're going to enlighten us on all things insurance today and help us solve all the problems in the world, and then everything's going to be a beautiful, happy place again, right? It's a tall order. But Daniel, introduce yourself to us. Just kind of tell us a little bit about who you are and your agency, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty about the insurance on its own.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for having me, by the way, Angie. Yeah. So just been in the city of Allen since 2021, opened my doors in March. And I've got
That's a great timing to open your doors of a new business.
Yeah, it was a fun ride.
Yeah, I bet.
And you know, I've got a great team, and part of that is learning how to ride post-COVID, the changes that have happened. But yeah, I've been, I would say, I would like to say I'm a Texas native, but I'm a California native. I moved here probably before it was cool.
Got here as fast as you could.
Before it was cool, yeah. Probably pushing 20 years ago. So definitely was like, I'm staying here.
So it was totally your choice 20 years ago to move to Texas because you're like
it was a
20 years
move.
old.
Yeah, yeah. It was a business move. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we'll just say that.
Yeah.
No, maybe not, but might have been a family decision. But but that being said, I chose to stay, and I was because you know, California, nothing against it, but Texas, I really fell in love with, and so leading into business ownership and where can I add the most value, I've found. I ran into insurance, and so worked for an agent for several years, learned all the ropes, learned business ownership and everything, and opened my doors and have been growing ever since. And
you've been open 7 years now, is that correct?
So yeah, 2021, we're going 4.5.
Oh, 4.5 years, but you were I know there was a 7 in there somewhere last time I talked to you.
Oh, I've been with State
Farm for 7 years, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's where it came from. I wasn't just making things up, I promise. So tell us a little bit about why you got into insurance. What was it that was appealing to you? Was it the servant side of it, of being able to help people? Or a lot of people get into insurance not really knowing what to expect and not really knowing what it is, but they don't last very long. So what has kept you in insurance for so long?
Yeah, and it couldn't be... you couldn't be more true saying that, but it is not for, you would think it's not for everybody. Me looking back, I'm like, I think it's for everybody. I love it. Yeah. But I grew into it. So initially it's like, where can I make the most impact, the biggest splash? And for me, I wanted it to be in the result of like, how many careers could I develop? I wanted my business model to be not just like numbers and profits, but that is directly linked to leadership.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was, and
so
with
developing younger agents and helping them then help serve the community and being able to do that kind of on an exponential level instead of just you helping, but developing other people. I love that.
I love my customers. Yeah. But my team is my top priority.
And you have a great team. Your team is growing and I've seen it grow over the time that we've known each other. But tell us a little bit about the culture at your agency, and why do people choose to be a part of the Daniel Borden Agency, and why do they stay with you?
Yeah, because it is there's like, we have a brand, and I'm surprised sometimes pleasantly hearing what customers say, but there's just a commitment to the customer that my team has, like individually, and there's stuff that I train in, that there's a level of a standard I hold. But then there's things that my team does, and I encourage it, but then they surprise me, the levels that they go to whether it's just reaching out after hours or just double checking in different ways, and like things we've been able to reverse and change and help solve big problems for customers who came to us from other companies or are dealing with a tough situation. and I hear it and I'm like, wow, this is and I hear it from the customers because they're calling me and they don't want to talk to me, they want to talk to my team.
Right. You're just the name on the door. You're not really a real person. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about some of the situations where people have had negative experiences and then come over to you. So what are some of those stories? A lot of people don't realize, that there is a difference in types of insurance, and the people make such a big difference because you get what you pay for. You buy cheap insurance, you get cheap customer service, and then you go with a higher, more quality brand, then you're going to get a level of service that's different. So what is some of the differences that your team can provide?
Yeah, and I can talk a little bit about the company, but really it is the team. So there are a lot of differences, especially if you talk about homeowners policies. It's not required. It's required by a mortgage company, but it's not required by law. Yeah. So when you walk into, okay, I'm buying my house for the first time, or it's my second home, third home, and everyone surrounding the deal just wants it to be done. Yeah. And they're like, okay, let's make sure the numbers work. Well, for a lot of folks, this is a very large asset that they're going to be building equity in. And there's several ways that you can lose your home. You might lose your home because of a fire or a tornado or something like that. You might. But you might also lose it because a situation happened with your income because of a health condition or because of an untimely passing. And we find that it's in the multiples of how many more times a customer will lose their home because they made sure everything was right for the escrow, but then an emergency happens and there's nothing there to
help them there.
To keep the house.
So you look more at the fine print of what are the details of the deal, not just the numbers for the end game. We have more fantastic information coming your way, so stay with us because City Lifestyle with Angi Burns will be right back. At City Lifestyle, we only partner with best-in-class businesses. And a lot of times people will ask me, well, what does that mean? We do a very rigorous vetting process for anyone who is allowed to advertise in our publications. We only partner with people who are 4- and 5-star businesses and who have great reviews with Better Business Bureau, have all of their licenses and certifications up to date. We want to make sure that our readers and listeners are only being recommended businesses who are going to go above and beyond, so you know you are getting a best-in-class business. Tell me a little bit more about, with the homeowners policy, what should someone be looking for? What is necessary in a policy?
Great question. Because everyone looks at the very first line, which is coverage A, and it's this much if my house burns down. And that's wonderful. But policies are built different. There's HOA, HOB, HO3, and HW, and several others. And then there's all these caveats within them. So you could have a policy that would pay if your house burned down. But then if you have a slow leak under your wood floors and it damages your wood floors, which we had happen to a customer, $144,000 claim.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
So that's a box that's checked or not checked.
Okay.
It could be a $1 million policy and a $1 million policy, but one of them has the check and one doesn't. And you look at the price and you're like, oh, well, this one's cheaper. Same coverage A, it must be better. Yeah. But you're one loss away from, you might have to take out home equity line of credit. You might have to dig into your savings or retirement. For some, if you don't have those, then that's where, same thing, you could lose the house even though it didn't burn down.
Yeah. So what are some of the misconceptions that people have, the fallacies that are out there when it comes to homeowners insurance and, I do need this or I don't need that? Like you just talked about, with the flooding or the slow leak type of thing. Yeah. So what are some other stories that you've witnessed over the years that kind of stand out to you?
There's some policies that are, there's two different types. That it breaks down into a policy that's at all risk. Everything's covered minus common exceptions. And then there's a named peril policy. And the named peril policy lists certain losses. And if that loss that your house experiences is not in that list, it's not covered. That's like step number one.
I feel like insurance is a shoulda, woulda, coulda type of thing. Like you never know what you don't know until you don't know it. Right. And you need to know it. And so that's your job, is to know everything that we don't know until to prevent us from having those oh no moments that when it happens. So the same thing applies with life insurance. So a lot of people think they're covered with life insurance until they need to use that life insurance or someone in their family needs to use that life insurance. So tell us a bit about the fallacies with life insurance, because you do all types of insurance at your agency.
Yeah. That's one of the main things we do is help people really prepare for the unexpected. And when you prepare for the unexpected, there's a lot of things that can happen. And what we hear most of all, if you're asking about a fallacy, I would say is, if I have life insurance through my job, then I don't need life insurance.
Okay.
Life insurance, and one of the first things we ask is, how long have you been at the job? Because if you've been at that job for 3 years, and then you have this opportunity of a lifetime come your way, it may or may not have that coverage. There may be a 6-month elimination period where you're not qualified to have that coverage. As well as we've had folks where they get to the older ages and they're ready, they've stuck with their company for 30 years, they're ready to retire, they want to keep that coverage. And they either can't keep it, or to keep it, they're going to be spending
astronomical amounts
10x,
of money.
20x
Wow.
what they thought was a fair price. And it may have been a fair price in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and you can get great coverage in your 60s. But when you're looking at coverage from a group life insurance policy, the benefits to those is that your company's paying for it.
Right.
Take the freebie, right? But if you want to make sure that your coverage is rock solid for your family, then look at, what happens if it takes 6 months for the company to pay out if I passed away?
Right.
Does my family, are they okay with eating into our savings or selling the house?
Do you have savings?
If you have it, right? And we look at that and the stats of like how many people have 6 months of savings now compared to 50 years ago, right? And it's like every decade, the numbers are constantly shifting. So insurance helps you cover that risk, right? So it's like you may be able to build that legacy before your legacy is built. You have coverage so that really if something happened to you tomorrow, which knock on wood, it happens to no one, but we know it happens, right?
So only, what is it? The only things you can't avoid, like death and taxes, or something. Eventually you're going to
it's the one claim that's going to pay out, and we help to make sure that when your family's sitting across from us that we get it right.
Do you work with estate planning attorneys and people like that? Is that somebody who, if we have some that are watching or listening right now, that they should get in contact with you to help with navigate that? Is that somebody that's a good synergy partner for you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So one of my close friends who's at my wedding it's my attorney, but he helps a lot of my customers with and his whole team with just final planning, wills, estates, anything family. There's some great folks, and they're in Allen, actually.
In our area, so, absolutely. So give me a bird's eye view of the differences between, like you always hear, like whole and term. Like what is the difference between like whole life and term life policies, and is there one that's better, or are they just different circumstances?
The most important thing is if you passed away tomorrow, the check that's going to be written to your family, is it enough to take care of them? Okay. And once you have that down and you're qualified for that amount, then the question is, what do you want the life insurance to do? There's 2 questions I ask every customer. How long do you want your life insurance to last? And once we know that question, a lot of times I hear, well, till I die, right? Because I've paid for it. I want it to pay out. Well, term, if you wanted a comparison, term is like when you're running stairs in high school, you're running the bleachers. Yeah. You start off and you're good.
That's terrible.
But once you
don't remind me.
But the first several steps you're good. Yeah. It's the last few that kill you. Right. Yeah. So a term policy.
And then you need life insurance.
Yeah. Yeah. Whereas when you have a more, like you're saying, a permanent, I like to use the word, think of it like a bucket. Because it's in a way you own the policy. Okay. So, and with government regulation, if you're paying premiums to own it, they overcharge in your younger years so that they can undercharge you in your older years. So you never have to worry about rate increase. Okay. So you lock in a rate But because of that overspend, there's growth on that, and there's a value to it.
Okay.
So you get access to that account value, and it basically fills the bucket. So if you die, your family it pays out to your family. But if you like, you can use that money, whether loaning it to yourself or surrendering some of it, you can get that cash back.
Stay tuned. We will be right back with City Lifestyle with Angi Burns after these short announcements. Thank you for tuning into City Lifestyle with Angi Burns. We are committed to being involved in our community and giving back as much as we can. If you would like us to come out and throw a neighborhood block party for your community, please contact us. We bring out bounce houses, DJs, ice cream trucks, and we would love to get your feedback on our publication and introduce you to our highly qualified and vetted advertising sponsors. We do not sell anything at the events. We just come out, throw a party, and get to know our neighbors so that we know how to best serve our community. So let us know if you would like us to come out to your neighborhood. We typically serve our neighborhood for block parties during the months of May, June, July, and October for trunk or treats. So reach out to us at Angi, ANGI.Burns@citylifestyle.com to book your City Lifestyle block party today.
We were talking about, well, what's the difference between the cost and the price?
Right.
A price of a term policy might only be $20.
Yeah.
Whereas a bucket policy, I like to call it, where there's lots of permanent, right? Could cost $200, $300, $400, $1,000, $2,000 a month, right? But because of the value, there's a net. And sometimes there's actually more value, cash value in the policy after a certain period of time than what you put in.
Okay.
So then the price of one might be less, but the actual net cost over 10, 20, 30 years, that's when you start to see this is a part of my long-term planning that should be in addition to my retirement planning and in any investments that I have.
Okay. So tell me who your ideal client is. Who should contact your agency? Because everybody needs insurance. So do you have a certain type of client that you like, or is anybody, everybody?
We will talk to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, and now it's like, do we have every policy for every person? No, but there are. We look at your whole situation.
Okay.
And we go, hey, how can we help life go right? That's our whole goal.
Yeah.
Plan for the unexpected, help life go right. And so we might have a customer call in where there's certain policies that they may be interested in that we can or cannot help with. But then when we look at the coverage that they have right now, there's a gap in the coverage. And that's when you were mentioning some of the horror stories.
Yeah.
We have some people call and they're like, I thought that was covered.
Right.
It's like, it's not right now. And so we do help fill gaps sometimes, right? But really, I would say, honestly, we wanted to reach out to the people that enjoy your magazine.
Yeah.
Because honestly, with our company and everything that we do, that's a prime customer.
Yeah. The people who live here, work here,
not
play
just with
here.
coverage, but savings too, that we have found, which you think, well, you give what you pay for. The thing is, when you're with a great company, long term, they can play a game where their prices actually end up being a better price.
Right.
Without it being a sacrifice of coverage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that you really love being involved in the community too. So you really like working with people who live here, who come into the office, and who you can go out and support in different ways as well. Tell us a little bit about the community aspect of your agency. And I've seen your team out supporting local sports, and I've seen you guys out doing a lot of things with the chamber, the community. So tell us about that aspect of your business and why you love supporting our community so much.
Yeah, no, I'll tell you, I like being the best. And I like anything that's the best. And
not competitive at all.
I'm competitive. But I'll just tell you, the Allen Eagles and everything they do, like there's these, and I love all of Texas, right? But I can have a favorite. And, and it's like the way they do. So I connected with Coach Lee and chatted a bit, and was like, I want to sponsor the boys, give them a game ball or like a player of the week, So, which I thought was like a cool thing for them and the boys, but I didn't realize for the students, I go out there on a Monday at 6 a.m. and they're hustling.
Right.
And they're like, they've got an operation going on where like, this is the real deal.
Yeah.
So just seeing that and then seeing them get psyched for one of their buddies that like had 8 sacks, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, this is it, man.
I bet it pumps you up just as much as it pumps them up to be able to get out there. 6 a.m. on a Monday sounds miserable. I don't know the last time I saw 6 a.m. on a Monday.
Yeah.
Hopefully never. Never again.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's like dying and then I need to call you at 6 a.m. on a Monday for life insurance. And you're like, it's too late. You should have already done it.
Yeah.
Which we have. Like my whole team, I think, is now insured through you with their life insurance. So, but I appreciate everything that you do for this community and being so involved and having that heart for service in the community, and not just like a lot of the stereotypical insurance people, you know, they don't last long because they get in it to make a buck, not to make a difference. And I do feel that the Daniel Borden Agency is not representative of that mentality. And I appreciate that with you, which is part of the reason why we wanted to partner with you with City Lifestyles. Because we like people who care about, they put people over profit and care about the community. And I think you definitely do live up to that. So tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, where they can find you, if you have, you know, social media tags or, you know, old school like me, phone number. What's the best way to reach you and your team?
Yeah, I'd say the best way, I'd probably say text the office number. So we do text and call. You can call during work hours.
Texting's my jam there.
You can text at 1 a.m. We're going to get that text. And you just say, hey, I want to talk insurance. Give us your name and we'll get in touch with you.
At 6 a.m. on a Monday morning.
maybe 8:30, maybe 9 o'clock. But yeah, when we're open. But yeah, that I would
After
say that's
coffee.
great. Yeah. My website is getborden.com.
Okay.
And the email, you can do quote@getborden.com, info@getborden.com, Daniel@getborden.com. We keep it simple.
Yes.
So you fill in the blank there and we will be in touch. Yeah. Or just stop by. You know,
And
we're
where are you located?
Right next to Mom's Cafe off of
It's delicious.
Yeah.
I will go there at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning.
Yeah, swing by, say hi. Yeah. And pull your homeowners policy, and we'll do a side by side. That's one of the favorite things.
Over pancakes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes. All right. So call Daniel for pancakes at Mom's Cafe and a review of your homeowner's insurance. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today, Daniel. Tune in to City Lifestyle with Angie Burns on Spotify or on our YouTube channel, as you guys are now, and you can learn more about our amazing partners and all the difference that they're making in our community. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Angie.
If you are looking for the best place to market your business to our local community, please consider City Lifestyle Publications. I personally own the Allen and Plano territories, but we have over a dozen luxury publications in our area. We are a nationwide brand, so we have over 200 publications across the nation, and we really do value high editorial integrity, beautiful photography, and making sure that your story is told in a respectable and beautiful way. So if you would like to learn more about how to become an advertising partner of City Lifestyle Publications, feel free to reach out to us because we are your ticket in the door to get you face to face with your next client.